What is going on YouTube? My name is Quevie, also known as Gustavius or Warzgill, and I am here to bring you my deck profile from the post-Rage of Raw Legendary booster pack that just came out. This deck is, as you can see, the Winged Dragon of Ra, but it also holds something a little special. Why the Legendary booster pack Rage of Raw was so awesome is because it had some brand new support that allowed the Winged Dragon of Ra to do basically everything it did in the anime and look broke, sexy, and all of the above while doing it. The deck itself and the new cards basically are based off of, like I said before, everything Winged Dragon of Ra could do in the original Duel Monsters anime, and everything it did as far as basically everything it did in Merrick's deck. And he also has some support cards that allow us to unlock the full potential of Ra. My deck is a little bit more special though, because not only is it just focused off of Yami Merrick's build, it's focused a little bit on the Pharaoh ceremonial build, and I'm going to show you what I mean by that. But without further ado, let's get to it. First and foremost, the headliner of the deck, the star of the deck, the Winged Dragon of Ra at 3. This card cannot be special summoned, which is where they messed up badly, by the way. Requires 3 tributes to normal summon this card. It is indeed a normal summon. It can be normal summon set. The normal summon can be negated. When it's normal summon, other cards and effects cannot be activated in response to its normal summon. So, no Solemn, no Bottomless Trap Hole, not that you could anyway, or nothing that just cancels out the summon or negates the effect upon summoning. So, when this card is normal summon, you can pay life points so you only have 100 left. The point-to-point transfer ability of the Winged Dragon of Ra, and it gains whatever you pay. So, say you're at a base 8,000. You give your Winged Dragon of Ra 7,900 points of your life points, and it has 7,900 points, attack points to its name. Also, you pay 1,000 life points, and you can destroy and target any monster on the field, including itself. But why would you want to destroy the Winged Dragon of Ra with its own effect? We will get into that a little later. So, 3 Winged Dragon of Ra's, considering putting it at 2. Next, we have 3 Winged Dragon of Ra Spearmo. This card is iconic. This card gets you out a lot of things that your opponent can possibly do. Hopefully your opponent swarms the field with powerful monsters like Borolo, Savage, Red Eyes Dark Dragoon, Rainbow Neos, Predaplanet, little stuff like that. Stuff that's really taking over in this meta right now. Or a lone Egyptian god slime on their side of the field. Basically, you tribute 3 monsters from either side of the field, and you put that monster on your opponent's side of the field. When during the end phase of the next turn, control switches, and you get to say the ancient chant and bring forth your Winged Dragon of Ra with 4,000 base attack. I love Spearmo because it gets you out of a lot. And I mean a lot of problems. Like, whether or not your opponent has anything that can potentially get rid of this card, like link summon it off or tribute it off or anything. But yeah, let's beware of things like that. Next up, we have the one, the only Jean Grey, the Winged Dragon of Ra, the Immortal Phoenix. Winged Dragon of Ra, Immortal Phoenix cannot be negated. It cannot be stopped. When Winged Dragon of Ra is sent to the graveyard, you get to special summon this card from your graveyard. Nothing can basically touch it. You pay 1,000 and you get rid of cards your opponent controls. You don't destroy or target. It's a send, which means you're sending this card to the graveyard and nothing can happen. It wasn't destroyed. It wasn't, sent to the graveyard by this card's effect. I love this card. It's basically game over when this card comes out. This is the card when it was first summoned on anime. This was the card that Merrick used against Joey. This is the form Roth took when it faced Joey for the first time. Overall a good card. Yeah. You want to get it into the graveyard with Foolish Burial. Next up, I have Slifer the Skydragon. Now, I did mention that my deck variant was a little different because mine contains this guy and a few other surprises. It's a casually built deck with some competitive cards inside that allows you to summon Raw and this guy and another guy. Basically, Slifer the Skydragon is there with how many ever cards I have in my hand. That's his power times 1,000. His summoning cannot be negated. Cards and effects cannot be activated upon his normal summon. And yeah, if it was special summon during the end phase, send it to the graveyard. Just like, with Monster Reborn, Call It a Haunted, things like that. It was special summon, send it back to the graveyard during the end phase. The thing I like about this card is when it's on the field and your opponent normal summons or special summons a monster in attack position, that monster automatically loses its 2,000 base attack power. If the monster is already at 0 attack points, the effect won't work. So, yeah. But I like Slifer the Skydragon, Yugi's Choice, an Egyptian God card. Next up, the OG, the one and only God Soldier of Obelisk, or as we like to call him in the dub, Obelisk the Tormentor. Requires 3 tributes to normal summon and cannot be normal summon set. This card's normal summon cannot be negated, pretty much like all the Egyptian God cards. He can't be targeted by spells, traps, or card effects. Basically, Obelisk is virtually invincible when things like Heart and Armed Dragon or Mound of the Bound Creator come into play, which forces your opponent to either concede or find ways or extend resources to get over little things like Mound of the Bound Creator and Obelisk or Slifer on the field at the same time, or Raw for that matter. But its last little effect is, pretty much like Slifer, if it is special summon from the graveyard or special summon, during the end phase it goes right back to where it came from, goes to graveyard. Last effect, very last effect, tribute 2 monsters, destroy all cards your opponent controls, the Dark Hole effect, or Black Rose, tribute up 2 monsters. But in the anime, it had a little effect where you tribute 2 monsters, the monsters' attack points power up to infinity. I don't know where that came from. That was just too broke. But yeah, Obelisk Tormentor, ladies and gentlemen. The goal of this deck is to abuse Raw while trying to have fun, and if you get all 3 Egyptian gods on the field, accomplishment, but that's not really an accomplishment in this game anymore. Next up, we have 3 Raw's Disciple. When this card is normal summon or special summon or summon in general, special summon 2 more from your hand or deck. This card is here basically to swarm the field for your gods and tribute them off for the next turn. Next up, we have Reactor Slime. Reactor Slime is based off of Merrick and String's card known as Revival Jam and another card called Jam Defender and one last card. It's called Jam Breeding Machine. Jam Breeding Machine is the same thing that Strings used in order to tribute off tokens for Slifer the Skydragon. I like the card because during the main phase, you could special summon 2 tokens off rip, and if you activated something like Ancient Chant from your hand, it allows you an additional normal summon. So you can easily go into one of your guys, and Reactor Slime automatically says anyway, you can't summon anything else unless it's Divine Beast or otherwise. So yeah, there is Reactor Slime, also known as Jam Breeding Machine, and so on and so forth. And last but not least, you get to tribute it off during the battle phase to add 1 Metal Reflex Slime directly from your hand, deck, or graveyard and set it, and it can be activated the turn you set it with this card's effect. So yeah, this card was basically meant for getting your new Egyptian God slime on the field. And next up we have Guardian Slime. Guardian Slime is your searcher. It is your protector. It's basically another take off the Jam Defender or Revival Jam. Jam Defender and Revival Jam together rolled into one. Only except for if it is sent to the graveyard, you get a card that lists the Winged Dragon of Ra in its card text, like Spell or Trap, directly from your deck to your hand. If you take battle damage or effect damage, you can special summon this card from your hand. During damage calculation, if this card battles an opponent's monster, quick effect, you can make this card gain defense points equal to your opponent's monster's attack during the damage calculation only. If this card is sent from the hand or field to the graveyard, you get to add 1 spell or trap card that specifically lists the Winged Dragon of Ra from your deck to your hand. That is a very good card. It was expensive as hell at first, but I waited, and then that was that. Next up for my hand traps, I run 2 Ghost Sisters and Spooky Dogwood. Ghost Sisters and Spooky Dogwood, it's obvious basically why this card is in here. Basically, you need to stack your life points. The Winged Dragon of Ra attack points are not only based off of Spearmo, it's not only based off of the point-to-point transfer, but, well, it is based off the point-to-point transfer ability, but when you transfer those points, you want to make sure you're going in for game. So your opponent is basically bound to summon things like Borlo, Savage, high attack powered monsters, basically. So when your opponent summon those get added to your life points, and when those get added to your life points, they are feeding your Winged Dragon of Ra. They're basically setting up for their own demise. So pray to God you have a Spearmo, and something else when the time comes around. Next up, last for my hand traps, I run 2 Ash Blossoms. This card is self-explanatory. It's the best hand trap in the game, all of Yu-Gi-Oh! Discard it. Stop your opponent from doing shenanigans or kicking their combos off. Now on to the spell cards. We have 3 Ancient Chants. Ancient Chant. I wonder why is it called that. Anyone who watches the anime knows why this card is called Ancient Chant. Ancient Chant adds 1 Winged Dragon of Ra from your deck to your hand or graveyard, and if you do, you contribute summon 1 monster during your main phase. Not Winged Dragon of Ra necessarily, but 1 monster. So, for instance, if I normal summoned Revival Jam, or should I say Reactor Slime, produce those tokens, activate Ancient Chant, get Ra from deck to hand, activate its effect, tribute off the 3 revival slime monsters and special summon either Raw, Slifer the Skydragon, or Obelisk. If I'm summoning Raw, I get to activate this card's effect from grave upon normal summon, which gives it one of its anime abilities, in which it gains the attack of the monsters used for its tribute summon. So, when you activate that, you're not only allowing Raw its attack points from the monster's tribute summon, but you're also paying life points towards its attack power. So, basically, when the dust settles, you should have a Winged Dragon of Raw monster with over 8,000 attack points. Next up, I have one of the Mighty Blaze Cannon. Basically, Blaze Cannon, this card can be searched with the Blaze Accelerator Volcanic Rocket card, because it's a Blaze Accelerator card. Because in the Japanese anime, they are originally called Blaze Accelerators or Blaze Cannon cards in, Yu-Gi-Oh! GX Axel Brody. But when this card is activated, the Winged Dragon of Ra is unaffected. The Winged Dragon of Ra is basically unaffected. It can't be targeted. You can't do anything to it. When an attack is declared involving the Winged Dragon of Ra, I can tribute any number of monsters on my side of the field who have not declared an attack this turn. So, if I just so happen to have Ra's Disciples, Egyptian God Slime, some overpowered shenanigans on the field, I can just basically add that attack power to the monster Winged Dragon of Ra. It's been done on the anime. I believe Merrick did it against the Pharaoh and Yugi in his final duel of Battle City. And last but not least, after damage calculation, if this card is attacked, you can send all monsters your opponent controls to the graveyard. So basically, that's Ra's Rage. Send them to the graveyard after I decimate them. Rah, rah. Next up, we have the stone tablet known as Millennium Revelations. Notice Monster Reborn and the Winged Dragon of Ra in this card's text. Basically, you can send one Divine Beast monster from your hand to the graveyard and one Monster Reborn and add one Monster Reborn from your deck to your graveyard or graveyard to your hand. I'm sorry. You can send this face-up card to the graveyard. This turn, you can special summon the Winged Dragon of Ra. And, basically you're using Monster Reborn while sending this card to the graveyard to activate Ra's graveyard abilities. And, this is what Merrick did against Joey and Bakura, basically. That's what that card is. I'll run it at 1, considering bumping it up to 2, but time will go on. Then that will make it a 41 card deck. Next up, I have the Mound of the Bound Creator. Duh. If this card is on the field, then not only will Winged Dragon of Ra be a bitch to get over, you have to worry about Egyptian God Slime, the ultimate stall tactic of this deck, Obelisk the Tormentor and Slifer the Skydragon being on the field while this card is on the field. This is broken shenanigans, and it's a burn damage if I attack with a level 10 or higher monster while my opponent during the battle phase. If I attack one of my opponent's monsters, I'm burning them for 1,000. So either way, nobody's safe. Next up, my draw power of the deck. I have 3. That's right, 3 Pots of Extravagance. Only 2 cards in my extra deck matter right now. I'm working on trying to extend my extra deck. Well, I'll take that back. Make that 3 cards that currently matter in my extra deck. I'm working on trying to expand it or trying to make it better so it can be usable. I have no link monsters in my extra deck as of yet. My deck is just basically focusing on Ra and summoning Ra. That's it. So, yeah, 3. And next up, it's my 1-ubs. Monster Reborn. Duh. Called by the Grave. Why did they do this to this card? So, hand traps galore for everybody. Man. Foolish Burial. This card is basically meant for a raw base form or raw Phoenix mode. You want to get one of those cards in the graveyard as soon as possible, depending on what your hand looks like. Terraforming. I have no way to search out Mound of the Bound Creator. Sometimes I just draw into it, but other times I need to go looking for it. Lastly, for my spells, Harpy's Feather Duster. I'm still in disbelief that this card has returned after all these years. Now on to my traps. Working on trying to get brand new rarities, but right now, 2 Metal Reflect Slimes. Metal Reflect Slime is mainly in here for the summoning of Egyptian God Slime protection. It's the card Merrick activated when he got the shit punched out of him by Obelisk the Tormentor. You really thought this card was a threat or was going to do something, but it didn't become a threat until it became Egyptian God Slime. Like, what is this thing doing here? Why is it here? Help me. Help me. 3,000 defense, it can't attack. Well protected while Mound of the Bound Creator is on the field. Last trap, I have Sun God Unification, or as the Japanese like to call it, one with the Sun God. The fact that God is in the card's name still trips me out. Sun God Unification basically allows Ra to perform his point-to-point transfer ability while it's special summon. You can't... So, Ra in this deck can be special summoned by things like Spearmo, things like Monster Reborn and Millennium Revelations, but you are still going to need to give it some attack power because you can't activate the effect of point-to-point transfer unless it's normal summon. This card says when it's special summon, you can now perform point-to-point transfer. And the card also acts as a diffusion too, because while you are transferring your life points to the Winged Dragon of Ra, you are also very vulnerable. So you tribute off Ra and get all your life points back. And while you have all your life points back, you special summon the Winged Dragon Ra Phoenix mode and activate its effect until you get the job done. And your opponent is no more. So, yeah, Sun God Unification. I like this card. And then, I don't know if anybody can see the artwork, but it's a monster Mary had called, I forgot what it was called, but it's that monster, Dark Ruler Hades, the Headless Knight, and Dark Necrofear all on the field, and Puppet Master. They are all on the field being attacked by Merrick and Ra. I don't know if anybody ever noticed the artwork, but yeah, I like this card a lot. It's point-to-point transfer. Next up, I have my extra deck, and that will be all. The 2 most important cards in the extra deck. Egyptian God Slime. The WTF card that Mary pulled out on the Pharaoh during the Battle City Finals. When he summoned this thing after taking 4,000 points of direct damage, I'm like, where did this thing come from? Why is it here? So what does it do? In the anime, it couldn't be destroyed by battle. And that's all I was led to believe. But apparently Konami had other plans. One Aqua monster and one level 10 Fusion monster are the requirements for this card summon. Must first be special summoned or fusion summoned from the extra deck by attributing one level 10 monster with 0 attack points. That's where Guardian Slime and your trap card. What is that trap card called again? Metal Reflex Slime come in. This card can be treated as 1 or 3 tributes for the tribute summon of a monster, which means it acts as 3 tributes for Raw, Slifer, or Obelisk. And it's the ultimate stall card until you get your board set up. Cannot be destroyed by battle. Your opponent's monsters cannot target for attacks, and your opponent cannot target with card effects any monster you control except the Egyptian God's line. So if you want to do something to you want to do something to one of the Egyptian God cards, you have to do something to Egyptian God Slime first. It's the ultimate stall tactic. It's here to stay. Especially if Mound of Bound Creator is on the field. Mound of the Bound Creator. The only other card that matters in here is the Super Dreadnought Rail Cannon Super Dora. One of the train monsters. I'm currently trying to expand the collection of the Super Dreadnought Rail Cannon monsters, like Super Gustav Max, Super Dreadnought Cannon, whatever the fuck, that 2,500 attack point, not 2,500, but he's $25 to $30 card, him and any other level 10 exceeds monster that will be useful for this deck. Next up are just cards that don't matter because they're in here for Pot of Extravagance. Just cards that I had left over. Cards that will be put to use in this deck for the time being. And so on and so forth. Alright everybody, that's my deck profile. Hopefully I look to test it out soon. Hopefully it works. But until then, thanks very much.